Well, hello, world. Hello, the United States of America, and hello, Texas. I am your quantum mechanics podcast host, Brandon Lalonde, coming to you from San Antonio one day after our amazing 250th anniversary of the United States and the Declaration of Independence. It is a glorious day here, and I can't be more proud than to be someone in the oil and gas industry within the United States, having been a part of some of the amazing landscape of drilling contractors here in North America, ranging all the way from Pennsylvania, North Dakota, Wyoming, Louisiana, Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and everywhere in between. It's been a great journey for me with um, with my experience, 15 years, and with drilling contractors specifically, all the way from being a roughneck on the drilling rigs, the Kelly rigs back in 2010 in the Permian Basin, and then some of our more high spec tier one rigs in South Texas. Now, today's going to be a special episode. I'm super inspired because I went to Comfort yesterday, Comfort, Texas, and I was a part of maybe one of the coolest parties, as you could say, for the 4th of July. Amazing, amazing firework display. And it was a family, a prominent family, done a lot, patriots, true Americans, and true Texans that just really inspired me. So I'm back doing the podcast because I'm just feeling awesome right now. And I want to take that and give you all a little bit of information and show you all what I'm doing that I think is very awesome in the oil and gas industry as well. Now, I have founded the company Quantum Mechanics, a data intelligence platform that centralizes all of the human data that's captured on the rig. So that includes inspections, incidents, investigations, corrective actions, root cause analysis, and so all of that is captured out on the rig or on the job site, and it's put into one platform. So what I've done with quantum mechanics is that I have encircled it with an AI agent that I call Quantix AI. And what this agent does, well, it's purpose built for drilling contractors, and it surfaces data that gives you profound visibility into not just one aspect of your operation, but all of them, because it can look at the different buckets of information that are coming in, and it can help you with identifying recurring incidents. It can help you find root cause analysis. It can help you identify perhaps those rigs that are high performers or even those rigs that need a little more attention because of their, let's just say, their recurring equipment failure on one piece of equipment. Or let's say it's fleet wide and you have one component that continuously fails across an entire fleet. Well, you can query those things and get answers in seconds with Quantix AI, and that is profound and transparent visibility into your data that many drilling contractors actually don't have right now. I have been a part of teams that have built company-wide audit, comprehensive audits for rigs, 215 rigs, and to aggregate just one region or even one area out of the United States and find those specific things that are different and are happening within that region, and then to zero in on them took weeks. Well, this is something that can help everyone from a rig manager to the C suite identify those things right away and then put things in place to make things better. And that's really what the mission is here with quantum mechanics is to make things better for the drilling contractors, for the rig manager, for the roughneck doing the inspections, and for all of those support personnel that orbit around the rigs all the way up to the C-suite. So that's what Quantix AI really is. It's something to help the roughnecks. I call it AI with training wheels because as a developer of just software platforms and now more recently AI development and architecture, I completely understand that AI is a buzzword. And any IADC event you go to, it's AI this, AI that, blah, 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 right? AI, blah, blah, blah. I saw a t-shirt like that. And I thought it was pretty funny, but it has become a buzzword. And I think nine times out of 10, if it's not the operator that's driving this type of AI adoption, it's not going to be your drilling contractor. Why? Because what really matters are going to be one, people, two, equipment, drilling, right, effectively, drilling the well, making your making the operator happy, right? Those customer relationships and drilling well, which we in the drilling contractor r- realm in the sphere, we have people that can do that exceptionally well. So why do we need AI? Well, I call it AI with training wheels because what we do at quantum mechanics is, well, we aggregate all that data and you're just using AI to give you insights to make profound and great decisions for your organization. We're not asking you to have the human out of the loop, right? There's always a human in the loop. In fact, the loop doesn't really have AI. It's not like AI is taken over. It's actually something that is used as a tool to enhance what we do out on the rig. So, and that's what I wanted this episode to be about. It's, unlocking the potential of your rig team. And I want to go through that first by looking at the platform, and then we're going to go through the website. I'm going to show y'all just some very specific value adds to people within the organization, ranging from the rig manager, the maintenance technician, the HSC advisor, the HSC director, right? And then all the way up to the VP of operations. So let's jump into the platform and take a look. Here we go. This is the quantum mechanics platform, the interface that you'll have if you're logging in. All right, we're jumping in here. Now you can see the different modules that we have. We have our documents module. This is where the organization is able to upload manuals. Jumping in, we've got manuals, web imports, your reference library, um, and it really is your catalog and your library of truth. Here we have API publications, OSHA. I think there is as well IADC. But then you look here and you've got different types of manuals, operations level, technical level inspections, things like that. You have a module where you can interface with Quantix directly. And this is very similar to what you see with Anthropic or ChatGPT. And it references your manuals, your inspection reports, as you can see here, as well as your incidents, your corrective actions, your investigations, root cause analysis. And this is where you can ask Quantix a question. You can record your voice here, and it will have an output. It also can speak to you in a voice as well, which is very cool. Now, the equipment registry is where everything revolves around. This is where you have your asset inventory. So here you can see there are 3 rigs in the fleet, rig 263 of the Permian Basin, 268, and 272. Hence, you'll see 3 Kumis here. You'll see your catwalks. Now, what's great about your equipment registry is it is essentially a one-stop shop for critical information regarding your equipment. If you look on the top right-hand side of each asset here, you have a health percentage of the equipment. Now, the health percentage is based off of inspections and corrective actions that are completed based off of those actions that are created for the nonconformities and the issues that you find on the rig during the inspection. So here you have the Worth GH 2000 EGAC1G, so that's going to be your HMH drawworks, and you have one open action item, okay, at 75%. On rig 272, you have it at 100%. Now, over on rig 268 in the Permian Basin, it's at 45%. Well, there's three open actions, one critical and two high. So you can click this and it'll take you to those actions in the corrective action module. Uh, but we'll get into that here in a moment. You can actually click here to inspect. So if you're a maintenance technician and you're wanting to basically look at your asset inventory on a rig, you can jump right into it, inspect, and there it is. And this is your inspection, your preventive maintenance inspection module to that's linked to your equipment registry, and you would start your inspection. So it's a quick link. Jumping back down to this drawworks at 45%, you can also ask Quantix a question regarding that. So let's jump in. Let's just really quickly, what are the common issues? So you can click that, and then in a blink of an eye, Quantix is going to look at what's going on with that piece of equipment and give you an analysis across a number of different modules that we have in the system. So on 268, it has three recurring themes driving its 45 health score, 43 points below the drawworks category average. So here it's very interesting because it's averaging out the fleet-wide health percentage of that equipment, and it's comparing this one to that. So it's identifying a brake system issue, crown pneumatic issue, and a cat head ancillary components issue. And its analysis is the brake system issues are the priority concern. 3 of the 5 inspections logged failures. And the grinding noise during hoisting is safety critical condition that warrants pulling the unit from service until a full brake inspection is completed. So it's going to look at what's going on, and then it's going to zero in on some light recommendations on what should be done. It's not going to tell you what you should do, but it can at least analyze what's in the system and provide you guidance in the blink of an eye very quickly. So it's a great useful tool. So here you can also, if you wanted to export the health report, you click on this little folder here, and there you go, a PDF for printing to take into any meeting for a quick snapshot of what's going on with the equipment. So now let's click into this asset, and here you can see a health score trend over the inspections. So on March 3rd, it was a 90% inspection. The 4th, it was a 60. On the 5th, it was 70. On 5/3, it was 89. And then later on 5/3, it was identified at 67. So you have 3 recurring failures detected. Now this is very important because recurring failures are essentially something that we can hone in on across the fleet, right? And here you can see failed twice, failed twice, failed twice. You can dive down into those failed items and see when they failed. You can see the notes put in by the person doing the inspection of the crew. And then you can see if any corrective actions were created. So if I am the ops drilling manager, I can say create corrective action for this recurring failure, right? So then I can be proactive and create a corrective action for the rig, for my HSC advisor, for my maintenance technician, right? So this is a very useful registry because it goes beyond just this is where the asset is located, and it dives down even further into your inspection history. Okay, now going into the asset details, and I'm going to jump in here. So the asset details, when we created the platform, I wanted to essentially upload the manuals for these, the OEM manuals, and then have a snapshot of critical information. So here in this section, you have all of your specs, right? So you don't have to go flipping through a manual or a PDF or go digging through a file, right? I've done that before and I've seen rig managers do that. All your critical information is right there. Torque specs, the motor's lifting capacity in this example, and different features on it, and then the standard API 7K. So a very useful tool for a snapshot and a way to take action for a piece of equipment in need of service. So we also have our inspections module. This is going to be your PMs. So this is where uh, the team out on the rig, this is where they live essentially in this module for PMs. So they would create a new inspection, right? I can see all of the rig assets because I'm at admin level, but the rig would only see theirs. So let's click on our drawworks with 45%. And here we have the daily drawworks inspection. And then I would start the inspection. And here you have your pass fail, right? This is a critical item. You have your severity levels. You can describe the issue. You can add a photo. You can open the camera on site to take a picture if you have the device on hand, or you can take it with a camera and then upload the photo later on. And then you can skip through and go through the different line items for your inspection. And here you have a percentage of completion. And this is extremely useful for the roughnecks out on the rig. It's very easy um, to complete. We also have a work orders module, so work orders can flow in to the system, right? And then they flow out if you're using another platform, another software with uploaded inspections, with PDFs, pictures, and things like that. The work order isn't static; it's not flat. It actually has information that you can reference in the other platform. The corrective actions module is fantastic because this module is really what drives behaviors through your incident management module, through your inspections module, right? Those necessitate corrective actions with escalatory emails, right? And here you can see some of them that are already in the system. There's a number of them. And then you can create action items outside of those modules. So if I am a regional VP of operations and I want something done right away, I can assign that action item. And then I can assign it to specific people. So very useful tool of accountability within the organization here. And the escalatory emails then will send to people in the organization based off of date of completion, overdue, right, or completed. The incident module is where your HSE advisor or your rig manager with your support team will live. Here you can see a number of different incidents that have been entered in the system. I created this one earlier, testing podcast. So this one was entered in earlier today. It was a near miss on rig 263. You can assign an investigator, multiple investigators. So here I'm going to assign myself, but it will show people throughout the organization. So if one of your investigators for, let's say, structural failure on something or an equipment failure, you could potentially assign the asset manager or even the engineer to lead the investigation. An email goes out, investigator assigned, an email goes out to that person. Here it was a near miss injury for John Jane Doe. And then you can edit the investigation here. And this is where we dive into your root cause analysis. What were the contributing factors? Right? You have a number of different options here. Investigation notes, root cause, your corrective action summary, uploading documents. Then you can save the investigation. And here you can generate corrective actions, right? That then link to your corrective action module. So the whole system is interconnected. And you can also, up here, you can assign equipment involved. So there's specific assets that you can assign, and then that incident will live with that asset. So if it is an equipment failure, that was an incident, let's say a non-productive time incident, then you can go back and you can trend that, and you can see that history for that piece of equipment, something that is very handy when you're doing like depot level, technical level, depot level remanufacture. And down here, you have an audit trail of the changes made. So if there's a regulatory body that wants to look at this incident, then you do have an audit trail for that. So it's a super important module because incident management, right, keeping people safe, um, and TRIR, these are at the core of the reputation and the identity of a company. You want to keep people safe. You don't want people getting hurt, and you want leading indicators through near hits, near misses, versus an incident actually happening. And this is how you can hone in, and you can use Quantix to identify those leading indicators, right? So you can get ahead of something that uh, could potentially happen in the future. Now, the analytics module is fantastic. I love it. I call it the ESPN of quantum mechanics. That's because you have your metrics, but in a visual way, right? Kind of gamified, right? So here you have your ticker, which I love. As items come in, as inspections come in, you can see, right? So if I'm the regional VP, I can see as these come in, and I can say, hey, what's going on here with this top drive on rig 268? I see a high priority and I want to look into that. Let me make a call, right? And then the ticker stops and then it keeps going. The completion rate, right? Completion rate detail of your inspections here. So these were on an automated, kind of like a corrective work order inspection schedule, and these weren't completed. So you can see which assets and on which rig were not completed. Your average health score. So it looks at the equipment across the fleet. Here we see our drawworks at 45% again, but then also you can see the rest of the fleet. So it's a snapshot of the inspections. And then you have your preventive maintenance compliance, right? So it's been a while since I've updated this test environment, but were inspections completed on time? Are we just pencil whipping things, right? Or are we actually getting them done when they should be? And then your recurring failures. So recurring failures are extremely important. So you can get ahead of them, so you can identify those things that happen multiple times, and you can potentially put measures in place to prevent those things from happening again. Health by category, equipment alerts, of course, the drawworks. You have that top drive that we saw earlier. Then you have a Worth TPK mud pump, number 3, 60%. Recent inspections and progress. These are in progress. You can see all. And then jumping into then our safety metrics, it's very important. So days since last incident, right? Days since last OSHA recordable. Your TRIR shows you how many recordables and how many hours worked. Your DART and your LTIR. And then you can edit your monthly hours. So if you were the HSE director, you could come in and you can edit those hours, right, as they're quantified and they come in from payroll, incidents by month, incidents by type, severity distribution, all the way from negligible to critical, your injury summary, and then your rolling 12-month summary. And then very easily, I can export this for meeting purposes, and I can have a hard copy to go into a meeting. So very handy. So as you can see, there's a lot that this brings to the table. And now I want to hone in on each individual player in the organization and how quantum mechanics benefits them specifically. What are the value props for each role, right? So let's scroll down quantum-mechanics with an x.com. And we're going to look at different roles specifically, and we're going to show the value add. So unlocking the potential of your team with Quantix AI, quantum mechanics brings value to everyone. And we're going to start with a rig manager running a tighter operation. So follow your equipment with real-time data, prevent downtime, and phone calls to the company man, right? Your every record is digital, searchable, and audit ready the moment it's completed. No more printing, collecting, and filing paper inspections. Do you know how much money a rig spends on ink and paper? And as well, if someone comes out to the rig and is looking for a specific document, if they're flipping through folders from the past year, maybe hard to find it. Well, no more. We can find it very quickly within quantum mechanics. You can ask Quantix AI for equipment specs, maintenance history, or manual references, get source answers in seconds instead of digging through binders. Sometimes, if equipment is down and you need to know for a specific torque spec, well, you don't have to go and find the manual, the hard copy manual that's somewhere in a filing cabinet. You can simply go to Quantix and ask it that question because those manuals are already uploaded into the system. It's fantastic. So very handy for the rig manager. Jumping into field technician, okay? Proving the value of maintenance is super important, right? Maintenance for the field technician is their life. And let's look at how quantum mechanics and Quantix level up our field technician. So for operations level PMs, they are tracked by rig manager, by rig and by crew. So you can see exactly where training gaps exist. Coaching rig crews with real data instead of assumptions, and build the habits that prevent the failures you get called out to fix. Right? So a lot of what field technicians do is they coach, they train, right? They set the Roughnecks up for success. This is a great tool to help them, right? By giving them information quickly. Manage your technical level inspections across every rig you support from one system. Findings, photos, and corrective actions generate trends and analytics that help you get ahead of downtime instead of chasing it, right? So on the technical level side, it's very handy to have all of that right there. And by the way, you can export it to PDF if you needed to print it out. As well, they can ask Quantix AI for maintenance trends, equipment history and downtime, data across rigs, the evidence that maintenance and safety are operations, a core component of a successful rig. And that is part of our philosophy that maintenance and safety are a part of operations. They intersect. Yes, the roughnecks are going to be conducting operations, but they're also the ones, right, that are doing daily, weekly, and monthly maintenance. And they're the ones that are abiding by safety policy. So they are intertwined with operations. And that is part of quantum mechanics philosophy. And that's partly why we built the system this way, because they all intersect. Let's jump into the HSE director. Okay, so we're rising a little higher into the sphere of the supporting staff. So support your people with systems and data. Run company-wide audits from one system. Every inspection, incident report, and corrective action is logged, time-stamped, and searchable across every rig in your fleet. So I've been a part of these regional audits, area audits, and there can be just tons of paperwork, uh, different points that you're trying to get to build a picture of what's going on in that region, right? You can do that with quantum mechanics, utilizing quantics to find that information. Track TRIR, near miss frequency, and corrective action closure rates in real time. Your leading and lagging indicators stay current without chasing spreadsheets from each location, right? So this is also great for the HSC advisors in the different regions and areas, right? To then funnel information and make the HSC director's life that much easier. Ask Quantix AI to pull any safety record, incident history, or equipment documentation across your fleet. Sourced answers in seconds instead of hours of digging through files. Huge value add, making people more efficient. Then we have our operations VP, okay? Driving accountability across every rig, fleet wide, right? The vision, right? And then the implementation down into the organization is that perspective. Connect your operational standards to field execution with visibility into TRIR, MPT, and corrective actions across every rig in your fleet. Corrective actions, again, accountability culture. This system, quantum mechanics, can really help with that. Every task is tracked and tied to the people responsible. When the numbers move, you can see exactly where and why, right? So at this level of management, really the operations VP can be in a reactionary position. Well, with quantum mechanics, they can be in an active position, moving, seeing things as they happen, and taking action right away. Ask Quantix AI for fleet-wide performance data, maintenance trends, or operational history. Answers in seconds instead of waiting on rig reports from the field. We go into a deeper dive, solutions by role, and it really gives you the meat and potatoes into each of the roles that we went into, so you can see how this system can really enhance what is going on for everyone in your organization, right? So every pain point has a solution, and it can transform your organization through TRIR and safety, MPT and uptime, accountability, audit readiness. So this is purpose built for drilling contractors, the drilling organization, from someone like me that has lived it for 15 years. So check out this website. Quantum Mechanics is a wealth of information. So just at the top, I mean, we have the oil and gas news ticker and the different trading barrels, WTI crude, Brent crude, natural gas, uh, information at your fingertips from top to bottom on the quantum mechanics website. And then as well, we have our oil and gas industry news page where you get synopses of the biggest stories in the industry. And then as well, you get the biggest news in the quantum mechanics platform. So long-term gas deals drive drilling planning certainty, right? So you get a quick look at quantum mechanics news and global as well as regional news. And then we also have a great blog. So the blog tracks what's going on in the bigger picture, and we write how it pertains, how we at Quantum Mechanics are a part of the bigger ecosystem of what's going on in the oil and gas industry from our perspective. But with that said, quantum mechanics adds tons of value to everyone in the organization. And so we are a member, a new member of of IADC. We're getting involved. We are on the panel that is developing a document about AI, and I am specifically a part of the group that is showing the value that AI can bring to drilling contractors. And it's just amazing because, well, quantum mechanics does that in so many ways across the organization. So I'm really excited to be a part of that. In addition to that, we have launched a recurring equipment failure agent in an AI marketplace for oil and gas engineers, petroleum engineers. So that's really exciting. So we're getting involved. We're getting what we're doing out there. I have a pilot out in the field lined up in August, and we're going to do big things. We're really excited about our position right now and the bigger picture with especially with your smaller drilling contractors that can really benefit from the type of transparency and the data aggregation, right? And it's a very simple model, right? But simple isn't always easy. Hopefully, we have done that because we are purpose built for the drilling contractor. Now, with that said, check us out. Subscribe to our newsletter on quantum-mechanics with an x.com, quantum-mechanics with an x.com. I am your host of the podcast. My name is Brandon Lalonde, 15 years in the oil and gas drilling contractor side of the industry. And you can schedule a demo. You can sign up for our newsletter. I would love to have a demo and show y'all how we can enhance what you're already doing with your workflows. It doesn't have to be a enterprise-wide disruption. Those can be disruptions. I've been a part of them with SAP, Oracle, and the work order system with Oracle, and as well as maintenance that can be disruptive. But we can do phased approaches. We can start with one rig. We can start with one asset, and then I would be out with the crews training or remotely training and getting everyone up to speed. It's basically everything they do on a day-to-day basis, which is a fantastic aspect of this. It's just they're entering it into uh, a tablet or a phone, and then it's aggregated. So a little difference there, but very excited about the future of the oil and gas industry and would love to connect with y'all. Find us on YouTube, the Quantum Mechanics podcast. Find us online, quantum-mechanics with an x.com, or find me on LinkedIn, Brandon Lalonde, like Jack LaLanne, looks Lanne, Lalane with two N's, Brandon Lalonde. And connect with me there. I'd love to have conversations about the future of the oil and gas industry, as well as what we're doing and how we can help the Roughnecks and enhance everyone in your organization. All right, America. All right, the world. This is Brandon Lalonde from San Antonio, Texas, saying thank you for tuning in to episode 4, and we will see you next time.